Care of a doctor. If you have family members or friends who are self-medicating, encourage them to stop and go see their doctor. It could save their life. Find more information at endrxmisuse.org. This message brought to you by the Missouri Department of Mental Health.
8:35 at KSMO Radio 1340, and we appreciate you joining us. It is Thursday, December 20th, the last full day of autumn, and we have a special guest with us. We have Mr. Ed Carmack with us this morning, and Ed, good to have you along.
Good morning, Stan.
How are you, sir? You're looking good.
I'm much better than I deserve, Stan. I can tell you that for sure.
Well, you're looking spry and ready to go, and Ed is gracious enough to come in, and we have been, I guess, vendors each way with each other for many years, doing different things, and Ed Carmack and Carol, and done a tremendous job being part of our community, along with Jimmy out there for years and years, and that's going to kind of be coming to an end at the store here very shortly. But Ed, it's been a blessing to have you in town and getting started way back in 1965. Things were a little different in 65 when you got started in business, weren't they?
Quite a bit different, Stan. Yeah, daylight and dark different, really, to be honest. And I guess we have advertised with you since you've owned the station, haven't we?
Yeah, we had a little gap in there about 2 years that there wasn't.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, I checked back on that. It was about 1989 and 91 or something. There was
Didn't remember that.
Yeah, it was just a short period of time. But
I know we started out advertising with the Smiths, and when they were at Hickory Hall up on the East Salem Hill back in 65, I found the check stubs where we had, and I don't recall that at all, of course, but we did advertise in some way, form, or fashion with the very early beginnings of our car lot. So,
well, of course, when you're trying to start a new business and open a new business in 65, and you've got a lot of things on your mind. First off, how to make that first paycheck and sell that first car, and pay all the bills. I mean, you were showing me some of those check stubs, and your electric bill, what was it, $10?
$10 and something for the month, right?
Times have changed.
Yes, they have, for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. But one of the neat things about a business like you have had, and it's been going and going and going and going. Those ongoing businesses, we have a lot of those here in Dent County. They really are the backbone of what this community has been about for years, isn't it?
I agree, Stan, wholeheartedly. I'm big on local business. In fact, the KSMO logo, you probably know this, and I'm sure you do, but years ago we would use the KSMO logo as Keep Salem Moving On. Mm-hmm. And that was always my theme and my motto, to keep Salem moving on, because this is where I've vested my lifetime and my family's lifetime, and we appreciate and love this community and want to do and have hopefully done something to pay back to the community compared to what they've done for us.
So we were talking before we came on the air, and I asked Ed if he remembered the very first vehicle he sold, and of course he did. And that's kind of, when you get in business, that sometimes you see the first dollar being put on a plaque somewhere, but that first car for a car salesman has got to be the thrill of a lifetime, because you're going into business, you're hoping everything works out, and you finally sell that very first car.
Yeah, very true. Well, Stan, we start with very humble beginnings, as I think we can quote, who was the man, the Moon River man, Andy Williams. That was his motto, right?
Yeah.
Started with very humble beginnings, and of course we did. We had 6 cars on the lot when we opened in 1965, and they consisted of like a 1957 Chevy 2-door hardtop, 65 Chevy 2-door hardtop, a 55 Chevy 2-door hardtop, a 62 Buick LeSabre convertible, and the Volkswagen Beetle that I brought home from Germany, serving in the Army in Germany for 2.5 years. And I brought back a 64-year model Beetle. It was on our lot for sale too. So it was either 5 or 6 cars to begin with, and John and Ethel Cisco were our first customers. And since then we've sold their immediate family, and then what would be their great-grandchildren cars. So that's like at least 3 generations that we've sold. We're very thankful for that.
That has happened many times in your business, hasn't it?
Many times, yes, it has, Dan. And before I forget it, I want to 2 things I want to do. First of all, give God all the credit for the success on the 53 and a half years business we've had, because He is the one that gets all the credit for it. But secondly, my brother Charlie, who many of you don't know, and I guess you never met Charlie.
I did.
You did meet
when we had when you got had the anniversary, 40th anniversary. He was there.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
no, I'd
he
forgotten.
came in town.
Okay, good. Anyway, it was his idea and mine together back in 64. We started talking about it and really enacted it in 65 of starting a car lot, because there was no used car lot in Salem. Now, there was every new car lot. You could buy a new car in Salem, every make and model but a Lincoln and a Cadillac. And those 2 weren't available. Everything else there was a new dealership for. And they, of course, had used cars that they put on their lot to trade-ins that they
Sure.
sold, but there was no independent used car lot in Salem. So we saw the need for a used car lot. And the mines were starting then to just beginning to drill, and the thought was, there's going to be a great mining industry coming here, and we thought there was going to be a lot of money coming to Salem, which there was. And the mines have been very, very good for us, as you well know, and not as good now maybe as it was 50 years ago, but still good.
It's still a very big integral part of our community.
Absolutely it is, and we're thankful for them. But anyway, we used that as an initiative to start this little used car lot. Well, Ferris Craig and Wade Russo own the property that we now own where the car lot has always been. We've never moved. And we talked with them about renting that lot from them, and they said they'd be glad to do that. And we gave them $50 a month for many, many years for rental on that lot, and put a small trailer there for an office. And of course, it's advanced from there, of course, but everything else is advanced from there too. I mean,
I think a lot of people who might remember the original office was a trailer, and you had a gravel lot, and and I remember going there, and we were actually going back into your books for some of that gravel. You got it by the load, and if people would understand what white chat costs now versus what you were paying back then, I think you were saying, what was it, $15 or $20?
No, saying $10.
$10.
We paid Oscar.
But it was not a full. It was not a dump truck load, but it was a small. It was still
small dump truck, right?
But still small, and $10 for a load of
Yep,
white gravel
right.
back when you got started. But it really is amazing when you go back through the years, though. And we're talking about how you mentioned getting together, coming up with a unique idea to meet a need, and that has happened here in Salem and Dane County many times with people who have got together, a family, or in your case, family. But in many cases, as people coming in town, they see a need, and they say, well, wait a minute, why is there nothing here? That's how these businesses get started. And that's how that has happened for many years here in Salem, right?
It's very true, Stan. Very true. Of course, I have to give Carol the credit too. I haven't mentioned her, but the C&E, of course, in the beginning was Charlie and Ed, and then after Charlie, he stayed in the car lot 13 years. In 1979, he got out and pursued other things, and we bought his interest, and Carol then became the C&E, so it's Carol and Ed since 1979.
Right.
So
It's worked out well, right?
it did work out great. Didn't have to change the sign that way.
But one of the neat things is that the car lot was a focal place. It still is a focal place. I mean, you have people coming by, but it's a place where you could come in, people to talk about not only about cars, but about community efforts and things of that nature. Many times they come down. You were part of the Crisis Center board for a long period of time. I know there's a lot of discussions that happened there about that. The Wild Turkey Federation, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. There have been a lot of different things that have come through that office, not just car sales, but community efforts that have come through your office where people have gathered and made things happen.
Yeah,
You
very
got to
true.
feel proud of that.
Well, very true, Stan. I'm thankful for it. I am, because we have, excuse me, we have participated in a lot of different fundraising organizations down through the years, and very, very happy to do so. I can't think that we give our efforts to anything that's much better than the nonprofit organizations that we've helped and worked for down through the years. We're now a part of the Riverways Pregnancy Resource Center board, and are very involved in that, and love that as well. So, of course, as you know, the Crisis Center, we had to close that a couple of years ago, and for unfortunate circumstances. But yeah, we had our board meetings there. We had our Crisis Center board meetings there for many, many years, and loved that organization. Helped a lot of young people, and we're so thankful for that. And again, we give God the glory for that as well.
Absolutely. And one of the other things, when we talk, you always talk about supporting local, and you used to do that very much. You and Carol at chamber banquets, and then we'd start a Salem Area Business Association. You remember Salem Area Business Association?
I had forgotten it, but I remember it now.
Yeah, you remember it now. And we got that out of the Downtown Merchants Association and put together, and for about a 3-year run, we did tremendous things and got people excited again back in town. This is all part. You were always involved in those things, Ed. And another thing too, and because I know a lot of people have come in, bought a car, their families. A lot of times when people pass, or their family members pass, I often will find you at a funeral home paying your respects to that family, because it was a very important part of your business, that family was, and you show your respect, and I applaud you for that, sir.
Well, thank you, Stan. That's the least I can do.
That kind of at that time. I wanted to we'll talk to Ed a little bit about some of the different things you've sold off your lot. Everybody knows that it was a used car lot, but you've sold a number of different things off that lot, haven't you? What's one of the most unique things you sold?
Oh, goodness, that'd be hard to say, Stan. We had a pretty good camper business going one time, way back. We sold campers going on the back of a pickup, self-contained type campers before motorhomes and that type thing was ever really being built. A lot of boats, a lot of bass boats. Of course, I've always liked to be been a fisherman most all my life, and
You take them out for a spin, Ed.
yeah, right. I test drive those bass boats, make sure they're good. But we've sold a lot of those throughout the years. Travel trailers. We've traded for just about anything you could name down through the years. And we always told people we would trade for anything that didn't eat hay. If you got to feed it, we're not going to trade for it. But if you can set it out and sell it for $1 or $2, then we'll be happy to trade for it. So
I seen you have this picture of a tractor out there you sold, I think, one time on your lot. You had a tractor. It's kind of on the far end of the lot, and I remember seeing it. And I said, "Wow!" I said, cars have changed big time.
Right.
But like you said, but it's what people could afford to do, and when they needed a vehicle, if that's what maybe they're selling their farm, they didn't need that tractor anymore.
That's true. Very true. Yeah, we trade for several tractors. Yes, we have, and it's. Like I say, anything tangible, anything that we could resell, we would be happy to trade for, and even to this day.
53 and a half years. Ed, when you got together with Charlie and you started planning all this, what were your long-term goals?
Probably didn't have any at that time. Too young to have long-term
you're
goals.
being honest.
Yeah, we were bulletproof, at that age. We didn't think there was a tomorrow, but no, we just wanted to serve the people of Dent County. We wanted to help Salem and the community that we're really born here. We were born on a farm out Van Nutt. Charlie and I were, and my sisters Pat and Sandra, and we were born there and raised, and pretty humble beginnings, as Andy would say as well too. We didn't have a lot. We didn't have electric for the first several years of my life, but we were happy. We were blessed, and we didn't want anything and didn't need anything and didn't regret anything. We were just a happy family with wonderful Christian parents. And what more can we say about life than that?
When you start talking about how important family is at that stage when you're growing up, Ed, family is everything, isn't it?
It's everything, Stan. It is. And the Lord bless Carol and I with twin daughters. Most of, I know you know, and most of the community knows Danita, because she's our county treasurer. Has been, I think she's starting her 12th, maybe her 13th year. And her other daughter, Deanna, lives on a farm by St. James, is married to a dentist, Gene Grover. And we're very proud of our girls. I'm not sure that we done the right job for them. I should have done it much better. I should have been a better dad than I was, I can tell you for sure. But we done what we thought was right for them, and they've turned out really well. They make us very proud.
Right, and you're a granddad too.
Yes, I am a granddad. Can't leave out Amanda and Nathan, can we?
Yeah.
No, they're the apple of our eye for sure.
They used to be a big part of the advertising way back about 15 years ago when they first were coming on the scene, and you weren't bashful about giving them credit too.
No, I can't say enough good about our grandchildren. It's a special thing in life that everybody will tell you. When you have a grandchild, you will have no idea what it's like. And well, we thought that was nonsense before we had our grandchildren. Now we know exactly what they mean. They're just the greatest.
One of the things when we start talking about used car sales, and you were talking about that there's all these new car dealerships in town. Of course, those have all dried up and gone away, not by their own choice. A lot of times that was by the actual car companies requiring so much investment that there's no way that the local dealerships could do that. They just don't have that kind of profit margin where they were able to do that. And then really your business kind of took the forefront, because then other used car dealers started popping up. But Ed, you were kind of that first one to break that ice. How's that transition been? Now the opportunity to get new cars was going away, but at C&E Auto, you were still able to get new cars for people if they really wanted one, couldn't you?
Yeah, in the beginning, we sold an awful lot of new cars, Stan. Actually, we did lots and lots. And, from the very nearly day one, we sold new cars. But that all changed as well, too. We can still make that arrangement, but it's not as easy as it used to be. And let me say this, Stan. A lot of businesses that compete in town and Dent County don't necessarily get along that well or speak highly of each other. But we're not that way at all. The used car dealers in town, we get along really well. And I would mention Butch Inke, Glenn Sapal, Jimmy Chafin, Jim Haven, all I consider to be very good friends of mine. And I would do anything for them, and I know in turn they would do anything for me as well. And that makes it much better.
Because you may not have the vehicle somebody's looking for. They have to get a vehicle now. why wouldn't you send them to a competitor who has that vehicle?
Done it countless times, Stan. Sure have, and they've done it to me as well.
Now let's also speak a little bit about with used cars. Obviously there's maintenance that has to be done, Ed, and you have kept all that maintenance and the cleaning of those cars and everything right here in town, and that's important too, because I think people need to understand. Somebody's trading in a vehicle to you. Usually it's not sparkling clean when it walks to your door, and also there may be a little issue with this or that. Maybe something has to be tuned up, or maybe the tires are bad or whatever. You have kept all the business and putting those cars back on, I'll call them showroom ready, on your lot by doing it all local, haven't you?
Stan, that's good that you brought that up, because I've gone all this time and not given any acknowledgement to our employees we've had throughout the years. And obviously, with your operation here, without employees, you couldn't exist. And we have had the very, very finest, the very best of employees down throughout the years. They've devoted themselves to us and done a good job for us, and we would not have been here as long as we have been had it not been for the great employees. And I couldn't name them all because there have been a lot of them, but I thank each and every one of them, and they did give us their very, very best, and we could not have been there without them. We couldn't have operated.
Right.
And like the cleaning up you're talking about, Bud Griffith done that for us about 30-plus years, and he was the best. He wasn't one of the best. He was the best. And we've had guys like Bill Decker and Jimmy Williams, our son-in-law, who's been with us for years. And I said I wasn't going to name them. I started doing it anyway. But there are a lot of them. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who worked for us in the past have deceased, and they've gone on to be with their Heavenly Father. So we're just thankful for each and every one of them.
And a lot of people that worked for you, Ed, couldn't get out of the car business. They may have ventured from you, but they got back in the car business again, maybe under a different hat, but
that's true.
or their own hat.
Yeah.
As we all know that
Yeah.
I know I can go to Freddie Whitaker in March
Yes.
'1, and he was able to do that as well.
He did.
One of the neat things though is when I look at a lot of C&E Auto, and you made improvements. Went from the trailer and the gravel, and you built the A-frame and did a great job, paved everything, really updated everything. And that was a tribute back to our community. You made it look nice, and I think everybody appreciated, the investment back in the community. And that's what the Carmack family has been doing for years. This is not all for us. It's, as you mentioned all the time, it's all about God and giving back to the community. You love Salem. So
Yes.
you merge those together and doing the best you can to help thrive this community, but also give praise where it's needed.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Stan. Listen, I haven't mentioned either, but the new owners of our lot are Dan and Julie Salyer, and they're great friends of ours. They're great business people. You talk about somebody who gives back to the community. I would have to put them at number one. These people literally give and give and give and give, and they have a tremendous business next door to us. I mean, a tremendous business, and someday they need to expand, so they've acquired our lot. When the time comes that they feel like they're going to expand, they will do that. And they're a great, great asset to our community. I can't say enough good about them.
Yeah, I've known them for years, and if anybody is not aware of what the Salyer family does, just go to 4-H and FFA Livestock Auction, or even any of the community events that go on around town. They support Community Center at the Armory, Healthy Dent County. They're a partner there. The Salyer family have really been involved, and as you mentioned, and it's not just Dan and Julie. You got now Dan Jr. helping out. So it's and when Tiffany was there, she used to help out too. Married and moved off now, but that's okay. You never know how people sometimes they find their way back, don't they?
They do. That's true.
You see a lot of people go. Now that we kind of talked a little bit about what the business is, and you see what's times have changed. Obviously, here's Salem. We're now in the here we are 20 going on 19, Ed, and your impression. What do you see happening here in Salem?
Well, unfortunately, Stan, I see things changing in a way that I don't like to see them change, because the days of people coming in and kicking tires and test driving and talking to the previous owners, as we've always allowed people, wanted people to do, encouraged people to do, have drastically changed. It's all about the smartphone now and the internet, and that's where so many people are buying their cars, and they'll drive for many, many miles or fly even. We know of many cases where people have flown to other states far away from here and purchased a car and brought it back. And of course, 53 years ago, that was totally unheard of. Probably 15 years ago was totally unheard of. But that changed. It changed the buying patterns and habits of people completely. And it's mainly the younger generation, the people my age, even your age, still want to kick that tire. They want to drive that car. They want to look the car over and have a mechanic check it, whatever, before they buy it. These people are buying them sight unseen, hundreds and maybe thousands of miles away. It's just a different mindset.
And that's not the best thing, Ed, because, well, first off, here's how I look at that. Number one, if I buy a car from C&E Auto, and I have, when Mel and I were together, we bought a car from you. If I have a problem, I go to you. I say, hey, this has happened with this vehicle. Did you guys notice it? Can we talk to the previous owner? Had it happened before? Once you make that internet call, they don't want to hear from you again. You have a person you can go back to. And when I'm ready to trade cars, I can come back to you. I had an accident, came and rented a vehicle from you because I know I'm going to get is a quality vehicle. That's the kind of thing that you can't find on the internet. You can't see that. You can't place that. So one of those things is service. And that should be the top of the list for anybody. I don't care what age you are, right?
I agree wholeheartedly. If it breaks in two and before the people get home, they own it. There's nobody to go back on. And we've spent, countless numbers of thousands of dollars on warranty work, repairing people's cars after they bought them. Unknown to us that it had a problem, and it may not have had the problem when they bought it, but if they have a problem down the road, they feel like that we should help them take care of it. We do that. We've done that forever. And you'll not get that on, like you said, on the internet.
No.
Or on smartphone. You will not get that.
Yeah, once you get it, it's gone.
Exactly.
So, and as you mentioned about kicking the tires, getting in a vehicle, why would I go buy a vehicle if I'm not even sure I'm going to be comfortable driving it? And I don't make any sense. You could go to C&E Auto. You could get in a vehicle. You can get 5 different vehicles if you want to take test drives. And I always appreciated that when I took a test drive, I did not have a salesperson breathing down my neck from the back telling me how great this car was. Here's the keys. Take it for a ride. Come back. Let me know what you think. And that's the way I like to do it. It's not that I'm going to go drag that vehicle, go out to the old drag strip and try it out. But the idea is that I get to play with it a little bit, get in there, still drive it safely, and then come back. And then the questions would be, did that satisfy your needs? And a lot of times you'd say, that's one. It's in the process. Maybe that will. Sometimes it didn't. But then you had another vehicle that somebody could say, well, why don't you take a test drive in this one?
Sure.
I was in there a couple of weeks back. Somebody was looking for a truck. And you said, well, this truck is this, but you might be more interested in this truck. Because it may meet your needs better.
Right.
That's something the experience that Ed Carmack had in the car business can tell, and not somebody on car.com or whatever. They can't tell you that.
That's true. And one size doesn't fit all, Stan, as you well know. Some people are smaller, some people are larger or smaller. It just doesn't work for everyone. Just in the last couple of weeks is a good reminder of what we're talking about. A couple looked at this vehicle and they loved it, and they didn't drive it. Well, the guy came back the next day to drive it, and he was a large gentleman, a big gentleman. And he drove it and come back. He said, Ed, I can't fit in this car. I said, I cannot get comfortable. It's just not big enough for me. So had he bought that on the internet, they looked at, saw the picture, they loved it, they'd have bought it. He couldn't use it. It was not large enough for him because he was a large man. So anyway, it's been a thorn in my side for a long time, but that's just the way it is. It's the modern America we live in.
Well, and we tend to do that. Another thing that when people start asking about different vehicles, and I know I've been in your doors enough to know, and I've heard you make conversation with people. A lot of people want to know about towing capacities and different things, and you've had the experience to let people know, when it's a V8, V6, even if it's a V6, it may have extra power to it, and it may be a turbo, and they say, does it have enough power to tow my boat?
Yeah.
Okay, you'd ask them questions about the boat. It wasn't about the car. You were asking them questions. How much does it weigh? What size is the boat? Where are you going to take it? You'd ask all these questions so you can say, yes, this will work.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you had that experience to be able to ask those questions. Again, those are things that are not available on the internet. If it says it has towing capacity, well, a lot of things have towing capacity. Maybe pull an empty trailer behind you.
Yeah.
Very
true, yeah. Not one size fits all, as I've said. I'm going to give you a price here, Stan, of a pickup that we bought new in 1979. I think this was bought from my dad. We paid $6,537.89 for it. That was a brand new Ford four-wheel drive pickup truck. And today, that might make a down payment on a new Ford pickup. I'm not sure. It depends on a few circumstances, but it's just amazing. Now, probably the average price of a new Ford pickup would be $35,000 to $50,000 in that range.
Depending upon the options you want.
Yeah, sure, it depends, right? But
and a lot of that money, Ed, and people understand, goes to the retirement plans that were initiated by the unions back in the '60s. These former employees of United Auto Workers have very good plans. Those are very expensive plans, and they have to be still paid for by those GM, Ford, Chrysler, and that all has to be paid for somehow. How you pay for that? You have to tack it on to the new price of the vehicle. So, grant you, there's nothing wrong with being covered by insurance, but we know our insurance costs have gone sky high. We know that the price of the vehicles continues to rise because those insurance costs go sky high and because of those previous contracts that provide those people with those kind of benefits. And I'm not knocking the unions for doing what they did at the time, was protecting their workers. That's good, but I don't think in their wildest dreams they would have seen what would have been 35, 40 years later.
No,
I
agree.
with the cost of insurance and different things that these vehicles would be in some cases over $70,000 to buy a car. And my house didn't cost $70,000.
I know you can have pretty good size acreage for that amount of money in Dent County. Going to give you a couple more ideas here.
Sure.
What costs were back in the early days. Richard Abrash, which was everybody in town knows Richard. He's a real advocate for the veterans and one of the best in the community for that. He and his brother both worked for us. They'd polish cars, wash cars, wipe cars off. Well, here I've got down a check to him for polishing 3 cars. We wrote him a check for $5. Okay, Bill Smith's dad, TJ, I can't think, he used initial. I can't remember right now. It's blank on that. It's Jason's grandfather, our Representative Jason Smith. He would pick a car up at our car lot, take it out to his house, and he actually was a shade tree mechanic. He did not have a garage. He worked under a tree. He had a big hoist. They would lift the motors out with a hoist under a tree. And he would pick the car up, bring it back to us, put a complete overhaul job on it. That'd be rings, mains, rods, oil, filter, the plugs, wires, everything. And $100 was a total bill. That was labor and parts included. So, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to think that in 50-some years, things have increased in price as they have. And have wages increased that much? I kind of doubt it, but still seem to be like more people have more today than they did then, too. So I'm not real sure what the answer to that one is.
And one of the things that I know that you have always reminded people that when they bought a car to finance it locally when at all possible.
Absolutely, absolutely.
There's just something about it, talking to your personal bank, getting that loan made, and then if you have a problem, you're still talking to a friend. You're not trying to find out where that is up in New York City and trying to negotiate with somebody there who could care less about you in Dent County.
I'm glad you brought that up, Stan. I'll forget a many number of things from this interview, but one thing that I'm glad you remind me of, without our banks in our community supporting us like they have and financing the cars we've sold throughout the years, again, we couldn't have been in business. I mean, our local banks have been phenomenal, every one of them. Can't single one out. They're all good, and they've all helped us, and they've been wonderful to work with. And our business could not have existed without the help of our local banks. Like you said, we would never want to see anyone go out of town for their money if they could borrow the money locally.
And you steered people to local insurance companies as well. And if they were buying a vehicle, you need insurance. You got to have that insurance card right away. You would you had all the information about all the different insurance companies locally right here. Again, to help your client get right away, you can say, okay, well, if you want this type of insurance or that type of insurance. It doesn't matter if you want name brand insurance, if you want an independent agent. You had all the numbers ready to say, here's your options. That's the key when we kind of start talking about service. That's what's falling apart. That's what's not being there anymore. And you're not going to be able to get that when businesses like yourself start to going out. We have, if we mentioned, I'm going to take one more step back. We have a lot of people who have been doing business a long time in Dent County. We've got obviously the Knights at Knight Auto Care and the Kellermans at K&H. Obviously Southtown Furniture with About Our Family. And that's just a few. Number of them have gone on for years and years and years. You got to be proud. First off, you got to be proud you've been in business that long. That's number one. But number two, to have served your community for over half a century. You ever look back and just say, what would have been if I went and did something else? I mean, did you ever think about that?
I really haven't a lot, Stan. It's been my whole life. It's all I've ever known, actually, because I was a young man when we started this business, and I've never known anything but getting up in the morning and driving to work and being there all day, 6 days a week, and we have stayed open on Saturday down throughout the years, and I know a lot of our businesses that used to be open on Saturday are no longer, and it's an inconvenience for a lot of people. We want to stay open because the people that work 5 days a week, especially if they work out of town to mine somewhere, they can't get to your business during the 5 days. They need a Saturday to do their shopping, and we've always remained open on Saturday for that reason, and just want to serve the community. We're here for the people. They have made us what we are, so we want to return as much as we can back to them. And I think that's what life's all about.
Well, that's just part of the service we're talking about, Ed. It's not all about me. It's all about my customer.
Amen. I agree.
And that is what is changing now. It's all about some of the younger people who are business owners. It's all about, well, I only want to spend 4 hours at work. Well, yeah, I would like to do that too, but that doesn't happen. You have a business to run. You're supposed to be there, and people expect you to be there. It's your business. Yeah,
exactly.
Grant you need time away, and we all do. But excuse me. But at the same time, if they want to talk to you, or if they say, well, I need to talk to Ed, or I need to talk to Stan, or I need to talk to Jimmy, if they've dealt with you before, they want to deal with you again. Yeah. They don't want to deal with Johnny or Bobby. They want to deal with you. And that's what they come to expect. And I will say that service has been available at C&E since I've been here, since '84. All I had to do is pretty well walk in there, unless you had a little vacation, you were going to be at your desk virtually every single day.
Yeah,
and you brought your own lunch half the time. You didn't even go anywhere.
I always eat my lunch at my desk, Stan. That's right. I have for years and years, and that's fine. I enjoy doing that. That's part of it, because a lot of people, and once again, the people locally here, they're off many times from 12 to 1. They can come by your business from 12 to 1. If you're not there, if you're gone to lunch, what do? And it's just a service that I feel we owe to the people, to the public, because of how good they've been to us, that we can pay back to them by being there and making it more convenient for them.
Well, we really appreciate you being a part of KSMO family, really have. And I want to remind everybody out there, KSMO put Your World Today out in 1991. And we talk about being community-minded. Well, Ed Carmack was one of the very first advertisers on that Your World Today. Picked that right upper corner, and he has been there since day one. And it's going to be hard to see somebody else there come up in the new year. But, the funny part about it is, Ed, is that it wasn't even a conversation piece when we came in and asked you to do it. You said, how can I help? That, and you were looking forward to saying, we didn't know if that would work. We had no idea, but you were willing to gamble on us. And here we are 27 years later, still doing the same thing, and we appreciate that. And the same with the KSMO advertising. You've been in business a long time, and yes, businesses have to advertise, but we appreciate your loyalty. And that's another thing that we always want to talk about here, loyalty to brands, loyalty to the local businesses, and that's what we're still looking to have people do. I think our Chamber of Commerce, with their little gift that they give, an opportunity at Christmas time to shop local, bring your receipts in, and get be in a drawing for a gift card. I think it's great, because spending that money local with people in our Chamber of Commerce is the only way that money is going to get revamped. And you've said it many times in your ad, the money that you spend here, those sales taxes go back to fix the streets. Look at our pool, all that stuff. And yes, we have a sales tax that helps that out, but you're always right in maintaining. You got to maintain your town, and it doesn't grow if you don't maintain it. If it falls apart because you want to go out of town, you're not getting the job done.
You buy it off Amazon, no taxes received whatsoever in Dane County and Salem, in the city of Salem. That's my understanding anyway. I don't buy anything off Amazon.
They're starting to change that. They're starting to start taxing things, but
hopefully,
but still, it's not. It's not that profit that's keeping that business alive, and that's how important it is. If the local businesses have the product and you can buy it online and save yourself $2, is it worth it?
Not
and
at all.
that $2 is going to keep somebody employed in Dent County. Think about it. I mean, it's not that much of savings. It's not that much more money to spend, but you are going to keep a neighbor employed in that business and keep that business alive.
Yeah, exactly right, Stan. Our daughter Anita is a county employee. Without the taxes coming in, how would they survive? How would they provide her salary? It's a must. It's a must-do thing. We have to have the tax base in Dent County and Salem, Missouri, to keep things moving as they are, and keep them even up to the speed that they are now, and hopefully in advance in years to come, that we can grow the community and grow our improvements and all.
So Ed, what's going to happen now? We will have a car lot to go to, and I know Melba came in and she says, I don't know what you're going to do without a few of those guys that come out. So do you have future plans? You going to take some time off, do a few things? What do you got planned?
Really, my plans at this point, Stan, are taking it one day at a time. And I'm going to miss my friends, because we do have quite a gathering there every day, and discuss local business and world business and solve a lot of problems there, as you know.
And rumors. rumors.
Right, and rumors, right. Number one, rumors, right.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big adjustment for me. I can't say that I'm really looking forward to it, but I have to. It's reality. But I will make it work one way or the other. I'll find something to do. I won't lay around and sleep. I can assure you that.
You will still be involved in a number of different
Yes.
things. I know you're not going to be able to sit there. You're going to get antsy. You're going to want to be involved. I truly believe that you'll still be a great community asset to us, and as you have been in the past. And Ed, all we can do is thank you for what you have done with our community, the great business that you've had. Tip our cap to Charlie and you for making that decision. As young people, that's a tough decision to make. You just don't know, and you take that leap of faith, and the good Lord blessed you with a positive response to that, and has been blessing you ever since.
Yeah, you're true. I was not married when Carol and I weren't married when we started the car lot. Charlie had married. He and Betty were married at the time, but of course it required a little more for him. I was staying at home with my mom and dad. It didn't require a lot for me, but it required a little more for him because he was married and had a child, Karen, and so. Yeah, we didn't have a lot for a long, long time, and still don't have a lot, but we're thankful for everything that we have. And it's just been a true blessing to us to be able to serve this community. And I can't say enough good about the town of Salem and how good they've been to me, and I hope we've given a little bit back.
And also you have your health, and of course, it's not that you're being forced out because of a health issue. And we've seen, unfortunately, that happen to a lot of businesses in Salem where people have gotten sick and they've had to go out of business. I want to express all of our gratitude to Ed and Carol and Jimmy for C&E Auto and the work that they've done, and again the great community effort that has been put forth by C&E. It's just it's hard to explain. And going back over these years that I talk about, this is 1984 when I first came here. I can tell you one of the first people that welcomed me to town was Ed Carmack. And it was a great thing. I attended a chamber banquet. He did not know who I was. I hadn't had a chance to get down and see him, and immediately he came up and he extended his hand and said, "Hi, I'm Ed Carmack from C&E Auto." And then we started talking. We haven't stopped talking since.
Well, thanks for remembering that, Stan. I personally don't remember it, but my memory isn't good. But I thank you for reminding me of that, and that's very humbling. And I met your dad, too, just recently, a veteran that I admire and respect very, very, very much. And he was an incredible gentleman, and I appreciate his service to our country. All the veterans I appreciate. And it was an honor and a privilege to meet him. A 94-year-old man, a veteran of the Second World War, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, what an honor. What an honor.
Yeah, but he's just underwent heart surgery, and he's hopefully coming home tomorrow, which would be wonderful. After 94 now, that's amazing. He just keeps moving forward. He's a fighter. He'll never give up. But again, we want to thank you for coming and spending some time. Any last words that you'd like to tell our audience about before we wrap this up?
Well, just to thank everyone again. Can't thank you enough. I mean, one time's not enough. 2 times, 100,000 times wouldn't be enough, Stan, because we have so very much to be thankful for, to have been blessed as we have been all these many years in our little small operation. But hopefully we were provided some good for the community and for different individuals. And again, thank you very, very much, and God bless each and every one of you. And remember that the only reason for the Christmas season is the birth of Jesus Christ our Lord.
Exactly. Very good. Ed, thanks again for all you've done for us and the friendship that we've developed over the years. And we just hope you continue to have great success in whatever endeavors you want to do, whether it's fundraising or elk hunting or wherever you might go and do. We want you to have continued success there, and we really appreciate your efforts.
Thank you, Stan. God bless you.
Thank you, Ed.